Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Startup in month one, day 16. Um, yeah, man, it's been a wild ride. Let's just jump straight to the show notes, shall we? We have 2 days left. Oh my god. Oh man, I'm so far gone. I can't even highlight text anymore. 2 days left in this thing. Yeah, man, I'm gonna be like totally honest with you. I was looking at the laundry list of things that I need to do to actually get this thing online, which consists of get it on the internet. Don't have a server. Don't have anything online. Don't have like hosted option. Everything's still local. Yeah, hook up like SSL certificates, which theoretically is like, an easy thing, but it's, been a source of like constant headache for me and everything else I've ever done. So, that's kind of a basic thing, but also kind of not basic. There's a lot of places to get tripped up there. Um, yeah, let's see. We can like play the game locally, right? But we don't really have a concept yet of like users or IDs for users or ways for like many clients to connect to the game and to like join the game like specifically that game code and only get updates for that game code. So it involves like a whole thing with like WebSocket broadcasting, which I still haven't figured out yet, like unique IDs. So we got that going. We've got like the back end logic and we've got the templates, but we've done like basically no work to hook up the templates to the back end logic, just on and on and on, right? So kind of skeptical that I'm actually going to get like anything like usable out there and done by tomorrow evening at like 5 o'clock or whatever. So yeah, it's kind of a like a pride swallowing thing to come to that kind of realization and to get realistic about that thing. And I'm sure if I like just got like super masochistic about it, like put in a bunch of crazy hours and all kinds of work and, worked like 48 or 36 hours straight or whatever to, finish the thing and get it up there. Like, I'm sure I could get like something up there. But as I've stated many times before, this whole year-long project is a marathon and not a sprint. And I can't be burning myself out on the very first month. Like, that's just not the way to go success, right? You got like work time and downtime, and you definitely need downtime if you're going to be like, effective at all in what you're trying to do. So, yeah, I got 2 more 8-hour days to work on this thing, and whatever I have at the end of Friday, like 5 or 6 o'clock, that's what I got. If it's on the internet, it's on the internet. If it's not, then, yeah, that's where we ended up. Um, Yeah, so anyway, the plan is to start with a warm up, and it feels really good to commit to the idea of the warm up because I've kind of like careened wildly from like one thing to the next while I've been working on this thing. Learning Clojure, learning WebSockets, learning how to like not only write Clojure code in the first place, but also like kind of be effective in my development. Learning all the like techniques and things that makes Clojure like easy to work in and fast to work in. So I've been like, just leaping back and forth between all these different things. But I think the one thing that has like really stuck with me this month is that making like really smart, deliberate choices to make yourself faster has like immediate payoff. And what I mean by that is well, let's jump to the code challenge we were doing yesterday, for instance. So, really cool guy on the Clojure Slack, Brendan. I'll bring up his name for privacy concerns. It wouldn't be that hard to find him if you were looking for him. Anyway, I've been chatting with this guy a lot, and he's just been like really great in terms of helping me get my feet under myself in terms of these like little missing pieces that I have when it comes to like working with Clojure and working with Clojure well. And what he suggested were these like rich comment blocks for like Debugging code, doing little code experiments, doing little setup things where I can like define variables and run functions and, kind of like play with them until they're right. And then, after you've like experimented with them inside this like little sandbox, notebook, scratch pad area, then, you just send the function off into your real app and, it runs from there and you start working on the next thing. So that's been really transformative for my workflow, even just in these like past few days. I can show you some of the work I was doing yesterday after I got off on the stream. So yeah, I guess I don't even really have to comment this out, right? Because it's already on a comment block. But yeah, I got like a bunch of these like little comment scratch pads going over here in game.clj, and this has allowed me to do like so much stuff. Like I get to experiment with like test games and define variables that were used inside functions and just like take advantage of like all the stuff that's like good about Clojure and all the reasons I wanted to like commit to the language even though I'm brand new to it. So yeah, this is just like a little scratch pad here full of stuff that I was playing with, and then like I've got another little scratch pad here, which is kind of like bootstrapping a game up and actually running through the flow of just calling these functions one by one and seeing how it affects the game state. So like you define a host, you define a game code, you define a test game, all functions, all pure functions passing in like data and returning outputs. So, no atoms even. Though the atom part is really easy to integrate into that flow. And yeah, I could do like a whole like simulated game, like run through like registering players and adding plots and like incrementing the round number and adding plots after I've incremented them around and even like going through the process of like voting for a plot. So yeah, this is just like super great in terms of allowing me to like develop these functions quickly. And kind of the best thing is that you can also like leave them in the file after you're done with them. So yeah, this isn't like a separate thing where you have to like import a bunch of namespaces and run the code and bootstrap the code, and it kind of like slowly drifts away from the test code that it was actually using. But yeah, you can just like leave this at the bottom of the file, and it can be simultaneously like a area for experimentation and also like some kind of like functional like actually working demo code for when you come back and you're trying to remember like, okay, what the hell do these functions do? You can just go to the comment blocks and like try them out. So anyway, that was an example of kind of a deliberate, like targeted strategy for like, putting in a little bit of time up front to refine my technique like just a little bit, and it had like a massive like immediate payoff. So it's like a small investment that has like a pretty big like short-term return and is gonna have like massive returns over the long run. So yeah, even though we're down to the wire and arguably like I should be devoting every little waking moment to like finishing this thing, because arguably the point is to finish at the end of the month. I'm gonna start with a warm-up because yeah, that's a small investment that's gonna pay off soon. It's gonna make me better faster, and it's only gonna improve my work as I'm actually working on this thing. So anyway, we're going to start with a warm-up. We're going to finish that warm-up we were working on yesterday, which was like this longest sentence thing. Word wrapping, so you guys can check out what the actual remit is. We're going to finish the basic game functions. So this is what I was showing before. Yesterday I wrote the add plot and vote functions after the fact, and I also kind of refactored this register player function to do these like specific associations with like different parts of like the game state that I'm gonna like add in slowly over time. So we're gonna finish that, and then maybe, just maybe, start hooking these up to WebSockets for real. And we did a whole refactor of like what we were working on yesterday. So if you recall, what we were trying to do was this like timestamp thing where we were only going to update like part of the state according to the timestamp, and if the timestamp was like newer, that means you overwrite the state, and if it's older, that means you ignore it. Did a bunch of experimentation with that yesterday, and just decided that was like way too complicated and intense. And I think you could definitely like do that and make it work, but I think the juice is not going to be worth the squeeze with that approach. So I'm just going to toss that all out, trying to avoid my sunk cost fallacy tendencies. Cost fallacy. Yeah, here's a good link for the show notes. So this is the idea that sunk cost fallacy effect. Maybe we should just go to the top. In economics and business decision making, a sunk cost, also known as a retrospective cost, is a cost that is already being incurred and cannot be recovered. Sunk costs are contrasted with prospective costs, which are future costs that may be avoided if an action is taken. In other words, a sunk cost is a sum paid in the past that is no longer relevant to decisions about the future. So the sunk cost fallacy basically boils down to the idea that, I've already sunk like so much time and effort into like doing this thing in a particular way, and so even if I have some kind of realization that the approach that I'm using is like not gonna like pan out, or I can, what am I doing? Or like, there's going to be like a better, easier way to do this. Like, I've already sunk like so much time and effort into this like old crappy method. So even though it's not going to be like the best way to actually solve this problem, I spent so much time on it anyway that I really need to follow through with it, because otherwise I wasted a bunch of time. And that is simply not true. That's a common like kind of thinking trap for people, but yeah, if you can like get beyond that and realize that like kind of changing courses even late in the game is like sometimes exactly what you need to do in order to come up with the best solution, then that's what you should do, within reason. But yeah, really trying to avoid just committing to the wrong thing because like I already put so much time into it. Like that's like absolutely not the thing to do, at least in this context. So yeah, and we're going to start with the warm-up. We're going to finish the basic game functions, maybe start hooking up the WebSockets for real. And yeah, all that being said, let's start with the agenda. I should just move this up here because I'm always forgetting to cover it. Alright, and our mantra for today is, maybe I wasn't working on the game after all. So, yeah, I'm calling this like startup in a month, 12 startups in 12 months. And ostensibly when you hear that, you think like, oh, it's going to be something where like you build a product and like finish it and release it at the end of the month. And you're going to have something like out there in the world that like people can use and like might be able to make you money. So yeah, that is what I was striving for, but it is often the case with founding a business or a startup or just like living your life that frequently the thing you think you're doing is not actually the thing you're doing. So I referenced this earlier in another episode on Tailwind UI 2 million. Yeah, this one. Yeah, so this is a reference to the utility CSS library that I'm using to build out the screens for the game. And so this guy, Adam Walton, was working on a different startup entirely, like completely unrelated to Tailwind. And in the process of like actually building that startup, which didn't go anywhere, he built this like utility CSS library just to like enable him to like actually build the product. And that utility CSS library ended up becoming the thing that like actually caught on and like blew up for him. and he founded a whole business around like the utility library. Oh, it's like Tailwind UI, which I think is like a SaaS thing for companies that want to use Tailwind. But yeah, the point of all that being is that yeah, if he had stuck slavishly to the idea that he's building this business and like this business is going to be the thing that happens, and he can't get like drown off or ditch it, then that constitutes a failure. But really, he had the eyes to see that. He's able to pivot to something else and ended up being like a huge success for him. So yeah, so yeah, that's the mantra I'm trying to like kind of repeat to myself nowadays. Like the concept that maybe this whole time I wasn't really working on like my first startup. Like maybe I wasn't working on finishing my first product or like getting the thing out there and like actually like having the success that I'm ostensibly trying to achieve. Like maybe what I was learning how to do was how to make a startup in a month, right? I'm like having all my mistakes early. I'm seeing what is possible to do with my time. I'm learning the technology. I'm refining my techniques. So maybe this whole month was like a warm up for the rest of the year. And maybe the point was not to actually get the game out, but maybe it was just to like experiment and like learn how to do the thing for real. And subsequent months will be more successful. So that's my mantra. Yeah, I think that carries water, and at the very least, it'll make me feel better about the fact that I'm probably not going to finish this. So, anyway, it is what it is. You got to frame your frame things in positive terms, and see the corner cases and the strange edges of what you're doing, and yeah, you can. What can you do? You can live a magical life if you engage in such things. So anyway, to the warm up. It is 9:45. I kind of like this timer go straight. I'm gonna do that again. So 9:45 a.m. 10:15. I've got my schedule here as well. 10:15. We're gonna stop, and then we're gonna get back into writing the game functions. So put the half-hour timer on. And let's get to it. Here's some ticking. Alright, I'm constantly forgetting to update my little Q&A thing at the bottom. Morning. Warm up continued from yesterday. Alright, so back to the longest word. And just for the sake of viewership, let's review what the remit is here. Have the function longest word take a sentence parameter being passed and return the largest word in the string. If there are two or more words that are the same length, return the first word from the string with that length. Ignore punctuation and assume the sentence will not be empty. Alright, so yeah, this is like our first trial and error with comment blocks, and yeah, I think it worked pretty well, honestly. So, get longest word sentence, string, split sentence. Alright. So, let's see where we were. Get longest word, sentence one. Oh, actually, Brendan told me this. Brandon, man. I'm gonna drop names like this. I gotta get his name right. I always call him Plinga in my mind. Brandon. Okay, it's Brandon. All right. So Brandon said that one of the things he was seeing me do was like trying to use Calva to like load this entire comment namespace into the REPL all at once, but because of like how a comment block works, really all you can do is either load the whole file or like load forms individually. So for example, like I haven't even loaded longest word yet, so bad syntax error. But if I load get longest word, oh, that's such a namespace string. I haven't even required my string functions yet. There we go. So we required the string functions, required get longest word, or loaded them into the REPL. I should get my terminology right. So now if we call get longest word sentence 1, we get a syntax error because we haven't loaded sentence 1. So load sentence 1 to the REPL, evaluate this, and finally we get the strings split into a vector of strings. But one thing they did suggest for loading like multiple things into the REPL was putting it in a do block. Which in my mind is like a very Ruby-ish thing. Like, you know, let's practice with slurping too. Just like the process of like moving parens like around forms. So that's like control right arrow in Calva. And so if we're on this blue one and we hit right, if we're on this blue one and we hit right, you see it moved from like back here to around there. Now in this do block we are defining sentence 1 and sentence 2. So I think what that means is I can just do like control enter, load the whole do thing. Sentence 1 was already in there, but now we got sentence 2 in the REPL as well. And now if we do get longest word sentence 2, cool. All right, so yeah, if I've got stuff that I want to like bootstrap like all at the same time, and I don't want to go through and like load each individual thing into the REPL, I will put it in a do form. And I will goof around a little bit and look up a picture of a dugong, because that's where my mind immediately goes. Simpler times. Do block, dugong. Alright. Cool, so yeah, we had some other things going on here. We had this example vector, and we could also count each word in the example vector. We could also map and return the identity of everything in the example vector. So that's like literally just mapping over a vector and returning a list. Ooh, we tried this interleave function too, which is really cool. So what this will do is it will kind of take all those word lengths and interleave them into a new list where this is the length of the word that comes immediately after it. So 3, 13, spectacularly. Yeah, so I think interleave is an interesting strategy. But I think what I want to do is I want to like count each word in the example vec. I want to get the index of the largest one. And I want to get the index of the largest number, and then like you can cross-reference that with the vector of split strings, and that's how you can find the largest. All right. So I can already map count example vec, but if I map indexed, I bets fun index and item. Okay, let's just call it word. Count word. So let's try this. All right, so that's exactly what we had before, but now we have access to the index as well. So yeah, how about we make a map from this where we can say like index I and count is going to be the result of counting the length of the word. I think that's a good way to go. Let's try this. Right. Man, I'd really like to like pretty print things too. Let's remind ourselves how to do that. Pretty print closure. P prints. So we'll require closure. One thing that would be really sweet to have, it might already exist, but a way to like replace certain like syntax with another. Like if I wanted to replace, you know, for whatever reason, like these params with brackets. As pprint. So we'll require that load into extra inputs. Or maybe we'll say like refer pprint. Yeah. There we go. Pprint that thing. More slurping. That is the way. All right. Run over args 3 past a closure core and map indexed. Interesting. There we go. Cool. All right. So now I got indexes and counts. Yeah, and so if I was doing this in like JavaScript land, I might iterate through all these objects and have a variable called like largest. And every time I find a number that's larger than the largest, I replace it. But I wonder if there's something in the closure cheat sheet which can give us a clue to a more functional closure-ish way. Oh, reduce. I could reduce it. Reduce key value. Yeah, so if we reduce this down to like one final object, and like on each iteration of the reduce, we just check to see if the count is larger. Ooh, convert effector to a set. That's interesting. Man. Add one collection to another. Reduce conj. Anyway, yeah, I think reduce is the way. So map indexed. Now, done all kinds of reduce in JavaScript. I've never done it in closure. Function and the collection. Yeah, so now we want to actually thread last. So reduce identity ... Let's just see if that works. Right, the current and the next. Reduce. Let's just do something silly and see if this works. Alright, so we can turn them into a string. Great, so that works how we expect. Now we can say like function cur next. What we say print line current. And then print line next. What does this look like? Current next. Right. Current in the next. So in JavaScript land, I would expect my starting value to be the current, and the first item in that array to be the next. But that is not the concept with closure reduce. So on the first iteration, current and next are like the first two items in the collection, and then after that you get an opportunity to return value, and yeah, from there on you can use it more like a JavaScript reduce statement. So yeah, that's cool. Function return next. Yeah, we can do like an if index of the current. Ooh, Craigie GitHub. Oh, I remember you from a couple weeks ago, man. Welcome back. You can specify an initial value for reduce as well. Good to know. Reduce f. Ah, there it is, right in the docs. Reduce the function, initial value, and the collection. Yeah, I guess reduce is a pretty universal concept amongst various programming languages, isn't it? So it's a bit silly to say that you wouldn't be able to do that. But hey, man, thanks for the tip. Craigie GitHub says, yeah, a while back, been turning in on and off. Oh, well, I've been glad to have you around, man. Welcome back. Yeah, we're doing a new segment where I'm doing a warm-up in the morning. So, yeah, first half hour of the day, I'm going to be just doing some code exercises to, put in a tiny upfront skill investment, which will, pay out in a larger way as I get farther into the thing. So, yeah, that's what we'll be doing for another 15 minutes, and then back into the game development. Anywho, yeah, function current next. So if greater than the count cur and the count next. Yeah, let's do index cur or index. Yeah, so we're going to check the count, and then that's going to give me what I really want, which is the index of the largest string in this collection. So if greater than, need a form around that greater than, save, run it. Don't know how to create an async. From closure, pretty print. Function. I think I'm missing a paren. Null pointer exception. All right. Cur next. Yeah, maybe starting with initial value would actually kind of help my brain to get around this. Right, so there's the function. We'll just give it a dummy index -1, count 0. Yeah, let's try that. All right, still a null pointer exception. So it's definitely somewhere in here. And I think it's probably related to me trying to access some kind of property that doesn't exist. Index 2, count 13, right. Yeah, so I guess I don't need to do that in the reduce function necessarily. What I could do is get that, and then in a final step just do count. Get the count from whatever that function returned. Nice. Okay, so now we got the count, but really what we wanted was the index. 2, 0, 1, 2. Yep, that's exactly right. Index, and then yeah, once we got the index, we can example vec. Right, so we got the example vec, but what we should start with is this. Alright, dot dot dot. String dot split. And let's start with sentence one, just make sure this all works. Okay, so now we're like taking it from like the whole start to finish. We're starting with the string and we're getting the index of the longest word. Cool. Alright, so we're splitting, we're mapping indexed, we're reducing, and we're getting the index. So yeah, let's try that with sentence 2. Word 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 13 really. Democratization. Alright, cool. Very good. Now, yeah, we should define like a function so we can have that sentence variable in scope. What am I calling this? Get longest word from sentence. And I think I want to do like a let block. Split string. It's going to be like string dot split on that sentence. And what that is going to enable us to do is the following. The let blocks are generally things that are good to avoid. What I can now do is return split string at that index. Yeah, can you do that? Like, if we had like an example vec, 0 example vec nil. Or maybe like get example vec 0. There we go. All right. Because we're threading last, I think I've already done that. Get split string. Dot dot dot. And I think that's it, right? Yeah, I think that's it. Let's try that. Def or get longest word from sentence 1. Oop. Oh, I didn't load it into the REPL. That's right. Spectacularly awesome. Wow, cool, man. Oh, hello. Dot dot dot. Tab. Interesting. So tabbing in Calva will do two things. One of which is automatically format your stuff if it's like all messed up. So if I put a bunch of white space in there and hit tab, it'll format the form. But unfortunately, it'll also get rid of commas, which I've read. It's like a nice strategy to use when you're threading, because like thread first, thread last, it's like passing arguments implicitly back and forth between functions. So if you want to have like a visual placeholder for where your threading stuff is actually going, you can put in like a comma character, since Clojure actually treats that as white space. Oh, that's probably right. That's probably why, right? Because like a space character is white space, and so if you're going to format, what you're going to be doing is getting rid of extra white space. So you hit tab, and because a comma is treated as white space, that's why that's getting deleted. So yeah, it definitely makes sense, but wonder if there's some way you could configure that where that wouldn't be the case, since that like comma thing is like pretty useful to me. But anyway, not a big deal. Let's get rid of that print, and then yeah, p print get longest word sentence 1 spectacularly. P print get longest word sentence 2. Democratization. Well, we finished the challenge, so let's just have a little fun with some like crazy sentences. Extremely verbose sentence example. ridiculous sentence with big words. 34 of the craziest words. Use ridiculous in a sentence. Biggest words. Example usage. Five long English words you can actually use from the British Council. Interdisciplinary. Here's an interesting text. Deaf, long British words. Alright, I think by definition we kind of already know what this is going to return, but no, it's going to return error because we haven't loaded it into the REPL. So let's just get a little more practice with that, like, do block thing. Do form. These aren't blocks, they're forms. Load it all in. Run that function. Major interdisciplinary. Interesting that it's treating the new line character. String.split. Maybe if I also split it on new lines. And if I'm going to split on new lines, I may as well split on tabs, but didn't seem to do it. Long British words. Well, it's my party. I can cry if I want to. I'll just get rid of those. That's probably related to the fact I'm trying to split what was already split. Major interdisciplinary. Major that. Incomprehensibility is longest word in that sentence. Excellent. Cool. All right. Well, it's 10:13. I think I've juiced this lemon, but yeah, good practice, man. And yeah, thanks for the reduce tip, Craig. That's going to be very useful going forward. And we'll just set off the alarm to have the auditory sound effect. All right, code practice over. Just a tiny little daily investment in skill building, and it'll pay off, I'm sure. Okay. Yeah, it's fun too. It's also good for giving you like a small daily win. You know, if you're gonna have like a challenging day full of challenging tasks, then you know, starting it with something that you know, is like really small in scope and like achievable in a short period of time. That's good for the spirit as well. All right. Daily warm up. Done. Thumbs up. Very good. All right. So before I forget, I want to not forget to change my little Q&A thing at the bottom. What are we doing here? We are finish basic game functions. All right, next thing on our agenda, finish our basic game functions. Boy, it'd be really nice to look at those screens, but I think I've like borked my app to the point where actually seeing what I would need visually is going to be a little bit difficult and time consuming, just to get the stuff back up and running. Yeah, let me see. So let's just do a category, like an inventory of what we're able to do so far. Oh, interesting. Tab. Well, it'll delete commas sometimes and not other times. I wonder if it'll delete a comma at the end of a form. Maybe that's the determining aspect. Yeah, so commas at the end of a form, that'll get deleted, but commas in the middle of a form will not. Interesting, good to know, good to keep track of. Yeah, so an inventory of the game. We can start a game, we can register a player, we can add a plot, we can increment around, we can add more plots, and we can vote. What can we not do yet? Tally votes. Determine a winner. Basic getters. Yeah, so tally votes determine a winner. We definitely need to do that, but yeah, basic getters. I don't think so. Or maybe a function just to like get the game according to the code. Yeah. Getter for a game according to game code. All right. So that's super easy. That's just like a get function. So I'll leave that till the end. But yeah, vis-a-vis tallying votes and determining a winner, that's definitely stuff we can write this morning. So how about we start tallying votes? All right. And yeah, let's move this down here. It's definitely useful to have these around, but they can get a little bit distracting. And something I wish I had yesterday, in keeping with the spirit of small upfront investments in skills and productivity. Yeah, to stay true to the ideal of what I'm trying to achieve there, what I'm going to do is get a plugin for VS Code, marks. So what this will do, it's kind of like a Vim thing, like a Vim inspired thing. Maybe Emacs does this too. Mark jump. Jump to the mark section in code. Code marks. Excuse me, gonna sneeze, but first I'll mute. Oh, maybe I won't sneeze after all. Okay, so might be easier to see here. Marks. Quickly mark and jump. Live SAS compiler. Bookmark. Bookmarks, that was it. Yeah, so what this will allow you to do is to like mark somewhere in your code that you want to like jump back to. Alright, what's new? How do I use it though? Sponsors, code stream. Tab 9. Features. Navigation. List from all files. Selection. Yeah, looks like this will be something I just have to discover via the command inputs. Bookmarks. Read the docs. About add a mark. Or creates. Oh man. Select lines, navigation, toggle, topple lane, toggle. Yes, what was that? That was option command K. Yeah, easy enough. Jump to next. Option command L, so K and L. So if I do that here, oh, yeah, nice. Okay. Yeah, cool. All right, so I'm gonna put a bookmark there, and that way I'll be able to like bet. Oh. Jump back to it quickly if I need to. And that'll save me a lot of scrolling and like hunting around the screen. Great. So, boy, after all that, what the hell are we doing? Tally votes. We're tallying votes, right? Yeah, so let's do that like do block thing I was doing before. It's like, all this stuff is like kind of annoying to do one after the other. Alright. When we get all that out of the way, let's start Calva. Launching Ripple. Launching Ripple for a long time. Yes, I do. There we go. Didn't have that before, which I assume was the bug. Alright. I'll just load the file. Syntax error, of course. Able to resolve symbol. Alright. Game state. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay to keep. Alright. So now, we'll just evaluate this whole thing. Yep. Simulated game 1 still works. Execution error. And now. 97. What's that? Increment vote total. I was working on this yesterday. Now it don't work. So, here's another thing that Brandon taught me, which is a hash quote. Insanely useful. And now I try. Right. Cool. Alright, so our vote totals are now a list. I think we want that to be a vector. So that's a good place to start. Votes. So vote totals. Association. Game code, vote totals. The following vector. Oh man, what was even going to be the thing? Vote totals at the round index key. Keyword voted for. this going to be a vector or an object? I cannot remember. Ah, yes, it's going to be a map. The total starter is going to look like this. Okay. So if I copy that, I put it up here. Vote total starter. Yeah, I suppose I could define that as a variable in a lead block, but host. Oh, you know what? This is the register player. This is not. No, I've already done this. Jeez. So why? Oh, it was register player. Right. So I actually did create the correct vote total map in this game state starter, but the problem was I'm registering players and having their vote totals. Right, okay. Okay, so if we go to register player, how about we just try to add a bookmark here, because we're probably going to be coming back. Alright, Social game vote totals. Yeah, so now we want to map over the object and add the keyword of the player and a vote total of 0. Craig says, so for the comma thing, Calda has a setting to point to a closure format config, and it looks like the one you want to set is remove surrounding white space to false. Oh, cool, okay. Nice. Yeah, so I guess surrounding white space is the reason why those commas are getting deleted at the ends of forms, but not in the middle. So, great. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to save that for future reference, because I think I want to keep my momentum up for the time being, but I definitely want to have that around for reference later. No Calva white space deletion. Cool. Yeah, I'm going to check that out later. Thanks for the link, man. And I saw my viewer count. Oh, no. All right. Associated game code vote totals. Right, so I want to do this. I think this is going to be way easier to do in a little sandbox. So how about we do that here? Yeah, so here's some voting scratch I had. Now if I say add new player vote totals. Yeah, so we got a test game, and let's just get rid of all the stuff that's not immediately relevant to what we're trying to do. Alright, so we got vote totals. Now we need a function to add someone in. Alright, def add new player vote totals. Oh god. Alright, so it's going to be a soc in. Yeah, let's start with the simple version of this and get to the more refined version once we can do this for the basic version. Soc in test game vote totals 0. Cliff 0. Alright, load test game into the REPL. Load load that. Actually, this is going to be like keyword player. Load it back in. Now if we say add new player vote totals for Cliff. Oh. So we're in a little bit of JavaScript this morning and it's already broken my brain a little bit. All right, so 0 Cliff. Vote total 0. I think what we really wanted was like a conj. Yeah, so what we did was we like blew away Andy for Cliff, so that's part of what we want to do, but we want to keep Andy. So yeah, closure cheat sheets. Oh, already got it up and down. I think into or conj is what I want, right? Everything's new collection. Alright, so into will work. Let's do like into test high foo bar. Yes, that's what we want. But now we gotta like do some crazy stuff, because this will allow us to search in the test game that. But then if we wanted to use into, we'd have to do something like into gets in test game at that index. This new thing. Slurp forward. Function. Yes, that'll do. That'll do what we want. That's kind of funky, right? Because we like have to associate in the test game at that index, and then we need to like call into, but then we need to like get that same map again in order to like, you know, combine it with this new thing we got. So yeah, in the interest of learn a little bit more, taking a small piece of deliberate time out to refine my skills. I think what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to learn how to do a lens in Clojure. So let's go back to my favorites, JavaScript library, Ramda, and let's check out the concept of a lens. So a lens is something where you can kind of like define a path to access a piece of data in like a nested structure, and I kind of bring back the value, right? So if we look here, we can R lens, R prop X, and search X, X lens, view sets. Right, so we define like the path to our data, which in this case is just like you know, a property called X, which has a value of 1, and we're setting that property to 4, and then we want like the whole object back, right? So I think what I can do is I can like kind of define this as like a lens at the top of the function, and then I won't need to like do it like over and over again. Like I could just use this lens to actually access what I'm trying to access. And I think the method to do that is going to be like quoting, which is something I've read about and something I don't really fully understand just yet, but that's another one of these superpowers of Clojure, which is passing around code as though it were data. Yeah, kind of learned that all in the context of a single morning. Let's find out. Lenses in Clojure. Lenses for Clojure. Ooh, spectacles. I like the name of this already. Checked at runtime using spec. Provides get in, assertion, update, and update in where keys, paths, and past values are checked based on existing specs. So, library's sweet. I'm not too proud to use a library. So this seems like it's both about getting the data, but also checking that it's right first, which I think is a little higher up than I need to go. And it's also using spec, which I've read like a little bit about, but I don't know how to use that. Lens. Idiomatic Clojure lenses. Yep. Def record. So request. Let's just experiment with things here. Let's vote total accessor be this thing. And so just define it like that. And do this. Macro expand. I wonder if I can just do that. Nope. I do it like that. Interesting. So if I can't load, that's another thing I just learned. If I can't load a function into the REPL, it'll just keep whatever version of it I loaded last. So that's really interesting. I wonder if it's the fact I'm using it as a vector. Maybe it should just be a list. pass a list to a function with quoting closure. Quote 42. Quote gives you the unevaluated form. Quoting without confusion. Many list beginners find quoting to be a foreign concept. First and most importantly, the quote special form is one of the most basic in Lisp. So wrapping quote around a form will return that form without evaluating it. That form could be a symbol or a list of symbols, or any other arbitrary expression. Keep in mind that with all these lists, with all the nesting, any symbols you see are literally symbols. Evaluation and therefore resolution of those symbols to functions or other values is totally out of the picture. I don't see a lot of explicit use of quote in actual code, though. Most often people use a shorthand. As you can see, using the single quote character works in exactly the same way. Just remember that with both of these syntax variants, when you see an opening paren, the quote applies to everything up and into the matching closing paren. Yep, that makes sense. Syntax quote and unquote. Syntax quote behaves pretty similarly to quote, but there's a number of differences that make it far more powerful and potentially far more confusing. Assume for a brief moment that things work exactly the same as quote. We'll talk about where that's not the case. First, there's no longhand analog for quote. For syntax quote, you need to use the backtick character. When you write a symbol inside a syntax quoted form, the reader will actually resolve that symbol rather than just taking it at face value. This has important implications for macro writing that are outside the scope. Probably more well known is the fact that a syntax quoted form allows for unquoting inside it. You can think of the tilde as saying that we are bounce outside the crowding syntax quoted form and evaluate the following form in this context. Whoa. The splicing unquote is similar to unquote, except that it allows multiple forms to be inserted in the place of a single unquote splicing form. Both of these unquote operations are meaningless outside the syntax quoted forms. Yeah, it's pretty cool, but it didn't really bring me closer to understanding how to use these things. So maybe if we just like comments, super simple quoting exercise. Yeah, so if we could figure out how to just like use quoting in the most simple context that we could possibly imagine, then I think that'll be a good move. So def numbers, it's going to be a list of 1 and 2. Traveling long cannot be cast to a function. I bet it can now. Def numbers. So if we like print line numbers, what does that give us? A list of 1 and 2. Alright. So what happens if we try to add numbers? What if we try to do that? Unquote numbers. What if we try apply addition to the numbers? Cool. Yep. Oh, I think what you're looking at for there is the apply function. It is indeed. Yeah, so we can quote a list, and now we can pass it as an argument. That's super cool. And that's what I was trying to do here. I was trying to, like, define... I don't know if this is, like, really even worth it at this point, because it's kind of the same amount of code regardless, but I was trying to say, like, vote totals at key 0. Like, I was trying to define, like, I was trying to define this as like a quoted thing so I could like just pass it around. Not have to worry about writing it out twice, but yeah, I'm kind of wondering if that's like worth it, right? Yep, I had it. Yeah, when you're working with something new, it's best to like start with the smallest possible thing, because yeah, trying to figure out quoting in the context of this is a bit nuts. Vote total accessor. Well, we took our first little baby steps into using quotes, and that's definitely a win. But I think for now, I'm just gonna stick with what I definitely know how to do. All right. Let's see. Craigie says you can define that vector and a let around that. I usually call them path. Yeah, path to the data. That's exactly what I'm trying to do. Do I still have that open? And lens. Yeah, this is like my context from like JavaScript land, which is where I was before coming to this. It's kind of my introduction to Clojure, but yeah, that's referred to as a lens, which I think is just a universal functional programming concept. But yeah, I was thinking if I could like define that lens here. Yeah, no, let's get bold. Let path. Let's see. New messages. You can use the literal vector for that, just stored in a variable. Oh, okay. The path is vote total 0. If we just do like path, syntax error, macro expand, failed path vector. Let path, vote total 0, test game at the path. It'd be like let path, vote total 0. Remember the brackets and lets. Oh, yep, nope, we definitely need that. Okay, I think that was it. Cool, now we got a right function. Nice, that's exactly what we needed. Awesome. Just a syntax issue. Yeah, syntax issue with these famous error messages, man. Man, thank God we got the REPL, because these things are just completely incomprehensible to a guy who's new to the language. Great. That actually looks a lot better, not having to write that out. That'll save me a lot of time. There's something really interesting. You might be familiar with this video already. Running closure. Yeah, they were talking about. Let me see if I can find this. About me. Was it this talk or was it a different talk? Yeah, something about like there's a version of closure, but they had like made the error messages like different. So they took the error messages and said like I'm not gonna find it. It was really interesting. It was like you know, if you're trying to do like 1 plus 1, like this is obviously wrong. Java lang long cannot be cast into closure lang I function. And I was watching some talk where it said like the error message was you're trying to use 1 as a function, but it's a number, stuff like that. So it was like just a different set of error messages, which were like specifically meant for like newcomers to like Clojure or Python or something. But I thought that was a really interesting concept. You know, just having like a plain English thing as opposed to you know, this you know, thing that's like an error message that's coming from the perspective of like you know, the person in there like writing the language. Yeah, so I thought that was interesting. Great. Yeah, so now we can define a path. That's great. Right. So we can define vote total 0, but we're going to have like a certain number of rounds, right? So now we need to not only update this first one, but all the subsequent ones. What's the best way to go about that? Maybe something like this. Ah, man. Test game and the index of vote totals. All right. And I can do like update many vote total indices at once. So, right, we got this. Now we want to say def vote total starter is going to be like cliff 0. I'm going to say soch in test game vote totals the following thing. Let's say no, let's make it even simpler than that. Def, let's do this. Let's get rid of that. Add the missing paren, tab to format. Alright. Parent map. Alright, so that'll turn our map into a vector, but that's not what we want. And really, we're just kind of using this vector, this map as an array, aren't we? So maybe we should make the smart move. And just treat it like what it is, which is a vector. And then we won't have to jump through all these weird hoops in order to just like kind of map through it and update things at certain indices. Alright. So we're going to start with that. We map over it, identity. Now we can do merge item with the vote total starter. Alright, so now we got a new player added with a vote total of 0 in each spot. Yep, that's what we want. Okay. So now if we take that experiment map, we put it up here. Add some missing punctuation. Merge. Map. Get in the test game. Add that path. The result of merging. Function goes first. Percentage merge keyword clear 0. Wrap that in a map. Now we got a stew going. All right. Find the purple paren. Great. So we got a kind of crazy thing going on. Zero, 1, and 2. Yeah, alright, so we're making like arrays of arrays. Test game at vote totals. Merge whatever you're finding there with an object consisting of a keyword of the player name and a vote total of 0. Yeah, I could do something real dumb and like flatten this after the fact, but oh, you know what? Maybe I didn't load that. Yep, exactly what I didn't do. I had an old test game variable in the old REPL, so I was doing all that on old data type. All right, yeah, cool. Now we got our add new player vocals function, so that's really great. And now we can give it a better name. But first, associating game code at vote totals. Alright, so that's test game and path. So now we can just copy this. Get in the game state. Pretty sure we're going to need to keyword that. Alright, Craigie. One thing that probably causes you some pain is the error messages aren't giving you line numbers. Not super familiar with Java, but if you click on print stack trace in the REPL, it doesn't show more. Yeah, you know, I think that is something you can do. Oh, that's also something I've seen referenced. You can also type *E in the REPL to print the last exception. Yeah. So far as Java is concerned, can I do stack traces? *E. Whoa. Interruptible eval. Interesting. Unable to resolve symbol player in this context via all that. Right. So Craigie says that may have the line numbers. Column source cause via trace. Yeah, I wonder if at the end of this trace we'll have the actual line number. Closure line util error. Line 132, is that where I had my last error? Yeah, so we can do that. I think you can also do like, was it like *1 or something to, get like your second, was it like *1, *2, *3 to yeah, I wonder print stack trace Calva. That is an ugly stack trace. I use some libraries to help. Visa Novate /pretty. Sometimes neatness counts. Trying to puzzle out a stack trace, pick a critical line of text down a long string of console output, or compare two streams of binary data. A little bit of formatting can go a long way. That it certainly can. It's packaged as part of boot. Yeah, that'd be sweet if that could integrate with Calva. This looks like something that's a little more property includes some useful replica utilities. Copy, pretty print. Yeah, you know, if I can get into a config file and add this, or maybe even the Calva code itself to replace its like printing utilities with like a pretty printer, that'd be really sweet. Let's see. Also, if you're used to step-through debugging, I think Calva has that. I use this library for really nice print debugging. With this lib, you can insert P almost anywhere in your code, and it'll print out stuff. Ooh. Weave Jester, hash P. Ooh. Hash P is better printing for debugging closure code. Oh, man. Yeah, so if I could put this in the middle of like a function, that's awesome. Hash P. Yeah, you know, that's definitely worth experimenting with. Let me see. Line again, dependencies. Hash P. Let's give this a shot here. Man, another thing I'm going to have to learn how to do is tell VS Code to only open this thing in like the left window. Alright, so composure, here we go. Hash P. I'm going to guess you do it like that. Maven version. Alright, Deps Eden, this is in the server, yep, okay. Let's kill this, start it again to get our new dependency in there. Let's start playing with it. Yeah, because coming from a back to the Ramda stuff. Yeah, coming from a Ramda perspective, I think tap is something that's also in closure. Closure tap. Yeah, this thing sends X to any taps, not block. I think this is used primarily to kind of insert some like side effect code in the middle of other code. So yeah, if you want to like you know, fire off like a print message, or you know, do like a database read or something, you can you know, put that in the middle of like a pipe function or a compose function, and it'll do that for you. But mostly what I've done is like console logging in the middle of like of a thread or something. So yeah, this looks like a very similar concept. Yeah, let's require it. Also need to require it in your namespace. So if we do like back here, load in the namespace, able to resolve simple test game. All right, do like hash p.core as something like that, or is it maybe like that? Let's head back to the docs. Hash p. Yeah, require hash p.core. You don't need the as, okay. Oh, right, because if I just require the whole thing, then like hash p will be in my namespace. So yeah, let's head down to one of our trusty comment blocks and give this a shot, huh? Comments. Yeah, let's try like 3 plus 1 plus 1. Yeah, so if we do that, we get 5. Then if we hash p at middle, we get attempting to call unbound function hash p core p. Hash p will be auto available, right? Double hash p reduce hash p count. Yeah, let's copy their example function. So let's get the mean. And if we get the mean value of like 1, 5, 3, 3, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 6, 7, 7, 9, 9, 10. What does this look like? Oh. Oh, I didn't call my require, that's why. Need to get those functions into the namespace. And after that, I'll be able to do this. First, I need to load that. Oh, cool. Double hash p reduce. Okay, so let's take a look. 86, 15. Reduce plus x's. Count x's. Comment. Yeah, how about we do like 3 plus 1 plus 1. So we can do that. What if we do this here? Hash parents. Nope. Plus 3 and 1. Failed vector. Alright, so threading doesn't work like right out of the box. Acquire hash p.core with the REPL, right, yeah. Yep. Yeah, so like, we know we're passing it here. I wonder if like, it'll work there. 5, hash p1, ooh, cool. Alright, so we put it there and it inspected like this thing. Yeah. Yeah, this thing seems like super useful. Fortunately, it's of an almost anywhere to insert hash p, but you're getting it. Yeah. Yeah, let's see some more of these examples. Hash p abuses data readers to make it easier to get useful debugging data sent to standard out. Yeah, man, so if I do it doesn't work like so well in the middle of a thread, but if I load this, 957, I've got some bad code. Oh, right, that was all this stuff. So let's use our hash commenting. Ooh, so nice. Load that in. .957 total. Yeah, maybe let's just get rid of that. So we only got like, yeah, we got 45 minutes left. We can fix this function. probably part of it has to do with the fact that this is still a map. So we'll save that. Let's try our start E. And a functional reading starting at line 57. So maybe we really do have some kind of problem here. Game code, vote totals. Sometimes I just like to delete all of it. Ah, here we go. Okay. Really was a case of a missing paren. Ooh, nice. Okay, so it's not quite what we want, but maybe because we were working with old code, and yep, it was. Alright. So now we're getting a list back, but what we really want is a vector. Because if we're not careful, we're going to accidentally try to evaluate a list of forms when really what we want is a vector of values. Alright, cool. So now that's a vector. Yeah, 1117. Finish basic game functions. Didn't do too much of that, but man, we got a lot of good debugging tools. Let's just play around with this hash p, man. Hash p thing, man. This is like mad cool. Hash p. Let's load that back in. Let's do back to our comment form. Load this, and then let's run that function to see what it gives us. Alright, we did the hash p in our merge function, and so what that gives us is the thing immediately following it, which is this little percentage sign thing, which means, yeah, it's logging what is currently in. Okay, so if I want to know like what this evaluates to, I do hash p. Load it, run the function, and now what I'm going to see is the code I wrote and what it evaluates to. So I've got like a player name, which is a string, like the string seri, and it's showing me that the form gets evaluated in 2 steps. The first thing I get is a map containing that function and the number 0. But then in order to like fully evaluate that, I need to like evaluate keyword player in that form, and the final thing I get is keyword seri 0. Cool. Super cool. You're getting it? In that case, it's only putting that first argument. Right, yeah. Ah, man. So let's put this in more places. Let's, yeah, man. I think the thing I'm learning is like investing in debugging tools is like totally worth it. So now what I think I'm going to get is a print line giving me like what this evaluates to. So game state, game code, players. I think what I'm going to get here is a list of players. Players, yeah, cool. So the first thing I get is like that kind of first step. Yeah, is that the first step? Let's go back up here. Players, game code, game states. So it shows me the whole form, and then it shows me what it evaluates to. Alright, so you put your logger in front of there, and then... yeah, once you run that code, it turns into that. I can assume that this is just going to give me, like, the whole game state back if I do that. So now if I go here, run it one more time. Socin gives you that function. I think this will be the game state. GME players. HP game code players. So I want to evaluate. So what it thinks it's evaluating. Right, so hash p I can't put in front of like a threading operator, for instance, because like this thing hasn't actually arrived in the function yet. So yeah, I put it there, but what it really evaluated was game code at players. Right, okay. So that makes sense. Man, let's try this. I'm having too much fun. Right. Okay, cool. More debugging tools. Yeah, man. Oh. Craig, this is golden, my friend. Thank you so much. That's going straight into the show notes list. Ooh, you know what? I'm actually keeping a list of hash p for debugging. Keeping a list of like closure techniques. It's like what I've got in mind is like a video or maybe like a blog, which is a collection of like, you know, things I picked up along the way, which like make working with closure like easier and kind of like puts you in the mindset of like how to do all this REPL driven stuff. So yeah, that'll be one that makes it in there if I ever write that. Sorry about the troubles with threading. I wonder if I use threading less now because of that, and I feel like there's a workaround. Yeah, I feel like once you get into the realm of like kind of implicit things in any language, that gets kind of tricky to work with, because yeah, so far as hash p is concerned, it's probably like in some fashion just looking at like whatever you put it directly in front of, and there's something implementation that means that yeah, it's a little bit difficult to use with like threading, but yeah. Did I try to put it here already? Because like one thing we could do, thread, could we put it in between threads? I think I tried that before and it didn't work. Let's try it one more time. Syntax error. But if I wanted to see what's happened between threads, what I could do is like a hash p percentage. Could I do that? Symbol cannot be cast to a persistent vector. But if I want to do like a print line first argument and then return that first argument, could I do that? I think I need to, or do I? Yeah, I can use the anonymous function there. That's kosher. Maybe I can't. Like if function x. Oh, was I just trying to do something totally crazy here? I totally was. Okay, print line, argument, return, argument. Does it chooch? Does not. Function x. Print line x. Return x. Function arguments should be wrapped in a vector. Expected associative collection or nil. Yeah, anyway, I won't get too tied up in this for too long, but yeah, there might be a way to like put just an intermediate function or something in there and call hash p after the fact. But anyway, for all the rest of my programming challenges associated with stuff like that, that'll be super useful. Okay. Boy, okay. What are we even working on? Okay, so we can add vote totals. Don't need this. Don't need that. Get rid of this. All right. Can we vote still? No pointer exception. Deleted one too many parens. All right. Game CLJ 105. Right, so the vote function is a little bit broken. All right. Let's get rid of this extra one. Yep, we only got one in there, so that's all right. So votes still work. Now let's try this. Game code round index nil. Evaluates to nil. Getting game state, game code, round index. Alright, so our test game. Get in game state. Add the game code. Add the round index. Turned into a keyword. Vote total, get in the game state. Game code, vote totals. first thing we can do is stop turning this into a keyword, because now it's just going to be an index. Get in the game state. Alright, let's try that. Bootstrap the game. Run the function. Hey. Alright, so it's not broken, but it's not changing the thing. We want vote totals. Ooh, we can have red to red. Oh, so we put this in the wrong level. We put this in the entire game state and not in the specific game. Alright, so that makes sense. Association, game state. Add the game code, add the vote totals, add the round index. I think that's going to give us what we need. Bootstrap once more. Andy 1. Ooh, hey. We can do it. Sari is going to vote for Andy. That Andy is going to vote for Cliff. Hey, nice. Very nice. Very good. Okay, cool. Another basic function done. Vote for a player. Done. Done. Thumbs up. Alright, tally votes. So we got another half hour. I'm pretty sure we can write a vote tallying function in that time. Alright. So we got vote, which is weirdly indented wrong and weirdly not being fixed by tab. Okay, there we go. Alright. Tally votes. Alright, so we're going to need a game state. And a game code for this one. Alright. Tally votes. Vote totals. What am I trying to do here? You can vote. What I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to take each one of these objects and I'm trying to determine how many votes each person got in a given round. That's what I'm trying to do. Okay. So in our simulated game environment, let's do this. Don't need to add plots necessarily. So we'll start out, register 2 players, and we'll vote. And just for kicks, let's get rid of the player voting, because that's not actually required in the API for this function just yet. What also requires a trip back to the vote function itself. Vote for a player in vote totals vector. Alright, nope, that goes. Before the function args, right? That's kind of weird that works because that's also in the wrong spot. Cool. All right. Tally votes. What does this function do? Maps all vote totals for all rounds and sums votes for each player. Alright. So we need a game state and a game code. We also need a function body. Alright. Yeah, so how about we do another lead block, even though I'm a little sketchy about becoming too dependent on these things. I think the style discourages defining lets inside functions too much. Alright, let vote totals be the result of get in game state game code vote totals. Alright. So now we're going to map over the vote totals. That's going to give us an object represented by our little squiggle guy here. Now we got objects. You know what? This is a reduce. This is totally a reduce. Funker next. Let's just get these on 2 lines so we don't get too distracted. Alright. Alright, so our cur is going to be like this for the time being. Each time we go through, we're going to get one of those maps. So I think what I want to do is I want to get the keys for this. I want to sum the keys, sum the values of the keys. Clear cheat sheet. Turns a sequence of the map's keys in the same order as the sequence or map. Alright, first things first. Let's finish with our setup code too. Alright, Siri. Alright, so I'll end up with 3 votes. Yeah, Cliff's showing up for my live streams. We'll give him some more points. So 1, 2, 3. So Cliff should have 4. Siri will have 2. Siri will have 3, I'll have 2. Alright. So now if we tally votes, the game state and the game code key. What do we get? One, two, three. Ah, didn't load the vote. New vote function. Now if we call this one more time. Error printing return value. Oh, because we're in a reduce, right? Error printing return value. Yeah, let's try that. Start using again. Ooh, much shorter. Cause nil via trace. Man, am I even like using this function? Nope. Not sure if that was the problem, but seems fairly likely. If I get rid of this, will it still work? Alright, so it's something about tally votes. Yeah, so we're getting the right thing. Definitely getting in. Turning the right thing to us. So what's the problem here? Reduce vote totals. Let's just make sure we're not totally crazy. Reduce function cur next. Yeah, let's just do something silly. String. Hey, hi, hello, goodbye. Alright, so that's like more or less what we're trying to do. Hey, hello. Alright, so maybe the problem is we're trying to reduce the map itself. Nope, you can do that. Tally votes. Game state, game code. We know the problem does not lie here. So what if we just try to return votes totals? Just like to find the function and return it straight away. How's that look? Yeah, okay. So now we can reduce the vote totals. Fun. Let's do something crazy and turn them into a string. That works. Alright. Maybe I was trying to call keys on the vector itself instead of the objects in the vector. Yeah, that could be it. Yeah, map keys, vote totals. So we'll do that. We'll see what tally votes does, right? Yeah, you know, maybe our friend interleave from this morning is going to be something we can use. Interleave. Or interpose. That's for inserting something in between. Just get back to our roots here. Def test totals. Work on a small scale and then graduate to the big scale. Follow the closure path, Andy. This is even too many maps to work with. Let's just keep it at one. Oh, you might be able to use merge with. Yeah, merge with. Yeah. It's merge with is like merge, but you get to define your own function. Merge with. Yeah, it's like merge with add. Merge with add the totals. Load it into the REPL. I think like applies in my future, right? Because like I've got a list of objects I want to merge. Apply, yep. Might need to do apply merge with. Can't just do it like that. Oh, holy hell. Nice. Oh man, when you discover that one-liner, that's a beautiful thing. All right. multiply, merge with, void totals. And you know what? It's such a simple function that we're not even going to use the let. Yeah, once you get the hang of how to change the core functions, it's so nice. Yep. I've gotten a taste of that with Ramda. That whole philosophy where, you know, any problem can be solved by like combining these like super simple basic like building block utility functions, and you can like build your larger solutions by like composing those things together. That's exactly what drew me into this. And I am so excited that I'm like starting to grasp the rudiments of it with the help of some community members along the way, of course. Seri 4, perfect. All right. Yeah, man, it's 11:51. Usually stop these things at 12 Eastern, but that's a really nice stopping point. So, yeah, let's just go back and figure out what our summary was. Tally votes. We are done with that. Thumbs up. Yeah, man, what else did we learn? We learned about hash p. Done. Yeah, what else did we do? We did what about logging exceptions with star E? Definitely done with that. And yeah, what else do we have? Yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, cool. So anyway, we're crawling towards the light with these basic game functions, and as I mentioned at the beginning, we've got 2 days left, and we're still working on basic game logic, but maybe I'm not actually working on the game after all. Maybe I'm learning how to do this, and this month one was just a shakedown cruise to see, like, okay, if I'm really going to do this, what are the boundaries? How far can I push it? How many new things can I get on board with, and how much can I accomplish? So, a little skeptical that I'm going to have anything online or finished by the end of Friday, but yeah, trying to feel good about that. Month 2 is a new month. We get to start with a fresh slate with all the stuff that we learned in month 1, and you know what? That's going to be a good thing too. So anyway, thanks for joining me, guys. Thanks especially to Craigie for all the help with, you know, function writing and, yeah, especially the debugging tools. That was super decent of you to help me out with that, man. So, yeah, thanks for showing up for the streams. Thanks for helping me out in the chat. And, yeah, hope to see you again soon when you got some time. So, anyway, everybody, I'll sign off for now, but I will catch you later. Enjoy your day.